that's not good sounding to me. I mean, I'm not an expert on anything, but to me, when I hear that, I think to myself, that wasn't exactly a huge UFC event, but what a WWE. Do you think, Matt, in hindsight, WWE have made a bit of a mistake with the network, or do you think that it will all pan out? I mean, from where we're at now, and I'm not talking as fans, I'm talking about as a business. Do you think that they've gone down a road that they're not going to be able to get out of that easy here?
It does at this moment look a bit of a mistake, really, when you think like what kind of money they're making compared to what they used to be making. But the thing is, like, everything seems to be going down this route, didn't it? Like when you see the UFC with their network, and when you look at other things like Netflix and that, just the huge popularity of this, people can just access something instantly.
I think they got the right idea, and I think people would have subscribed to that network without the pay-per-views, quite frankly. And what they should have done, in my opinion, is left the 4 big events as pay-per-views, and they should have ran these B pay-per-views, you know, these extra SmackDown ones and Raw ones each month. Those should have been the exclusives for the network. So if you get the network, you get those included. You get NXT. But you're giving away NXT, you're giving away all the pay-per-views, including WrestleMania, and then you're also having people sign up on free for 2 months or whatever. And I just think it's giving away way too much for 10 quid. I mean, I just think they've sort of lost out on that, because if you think of the American prices, not just the UK prices, because in America there was a staggering price. They were selling WrestleMania the last time, Matt, for in the region of $65. Now it's $9.99 for everything and you're thinking, how the hell is that working out? Now I know it's more regular to them, but you know, to be honest, it's going to be the same every year. The boom period is always going to be at WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania, but I'm talking about through the year. It just seems that's where they're losing a lot out of this, and so I do feel they should have just left Survivor Series, Rumble, SummerSlam and Mania as maybe pay-per-views, because although UFC have the streaming stuff, they're still running pay-per-views. The thing you get with the UFC is that you can watch any of the old stuff and all these other promotions that they've bought out, which is like WWE have done with, you know, WCW and etc. etc. You can do all that, and it's a good deal for what you get. But what the UFC are not doing is they're not giving, you know, Conor McGregor away, you know, against sort of Nick Diaz and all the rest of it, you know, for the same price. You know, it would make no sense. And it seems to be. I'm thinking like, hang on, WrestleMania, like you want all these big matches. You know, you've got to try and make some the money somewhere. So WrestleManias have gone down there as well. You know, what they've been sold in other places because of this network. And I do feel like this could come back to haunt them, because all I'm hearing now is the bulk of the money they're making is through the USA Network with Raw, because of the commercials and all the rest of it. So I think they've got to be careful here with this. I mean, they really have. Do you see any way out of this, Matt? I mean, could WWE, Matt, if WWE decided, well, we're going to do that, is it too late to do that? And would fans actually just switch off and be like, no way?
Yeah, it kind of is a bit late now, but what I would have suggested they did. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to say this as a fan because it's not doing me.
Yeah.
But to make the big 4, the paid for pay-per-view events, you know, go on the network and it says, oh, you have to pay an additional like $9.99 to see this event. I think, you know, and those are the things that draw. People would probably be willing to, because those are the events that, you know, that they try their hardest in.
Yeah, I mean, this is what UFC do. This is what WWE should have done. Is that you have the WrestleMania, for instance, as an example, as a pay-per-view. But if you sign up to you subscribe to the network, you'll get, I don't know, 20% off. So you'll get a cheaper deal than going to like Sky Box Office or your provider box office if you sign up with us. But you still got to pay extra money because this is WrestleMania, you know. And it kind of comes back to the thing. It's like your product is only as good as you're selling it as, and if you're selling it that cheap, what doesn't make sense, I guess, Matt, in a lot of ways, is like what you just said. These live events are so expensive, yet TV is so cheap, and it makes you think, well, why would anyone really bother to go and watch them when you can just get all this stuff You know, I know it is an experience to go and see the shows, but unless you're a child, I kind of think to myself, you know what, if I haven't got the money, I would just sit there and just be watching the network. If I was living in the States, I'd think, I'm not going to keep paying out, you know, 5-6 times they're coming around my, you know, area each year, because I might as well just watch it on the network or TV at home, because they're so expensive. So I think you've got to be careful. If you're saying to people it's so cheap here, but yet turning up in person, we're going to charge you the highest amount we possibly can. I think you have to be careful there, and the way they look at it. But, you know, maybe it's just something they have to look at across the whole board. I'm not too sure. But it does seem like a problem that, in general, in that area. But I'm sure we'll talk about that more and more. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap things up, Matt, for this little preview. I just want to let everybody know, not to forget, you guys get the opportunity to vote for what you would like to see myself and Matt run through, watch live and give a full commentary. And the choices are Survivor Series 1996, Survivor Series 97, or Survivor Series 1998. Don't forget, email us at wrestleline@gmail.com. In the subject or the title bar, just literally put in the year of the Survivor Series you'd like us to cover, and we'll get on to that. We'll leave it out for a couple of weeks, and then we'll get the result out, and we'll be putting it up there just as a big thank you for those that have hung on with us, stayed with us, and the loyal fans. We're going to give that as a free kind of extra one on the week of probably Survivor Series, in fact, just to kind of key that one up along there. And of course, don't forget, folks, next week we're going to be back for our very first match. I mean, it's been our first in ages. I can't remember the last live one we've done. But we're going to be back live next Monday night. It's going to be back to the usual wrestling night for us. And we're going to be literally going through all things current. So get back in touch with us. We're going to be taking all your questions. Matt, I'm sure we're going to have to get back into the swing of things with the questions, because you never know what's coming in this podcast. We get some crazy questions. If you're a new listener on this one, you'd like to email us again, same place, wrestleline@gmail.com. Feel free, anything at all to do with wrestling, doesn't even have to be current. Also, guys, don't stop emailing me about the whole WrestleLine timelines that we've been doing. So I get loads of questions about them. We're going to be picking up on some of them as well on next week's episode. I know we've got quite a few about Diesel and Luger, so we'll pick up on some of them as well. We're also going to have some new bits to the show. We're going to have... Matt, I've decided to come up with something on our show. I thought, look, we have to be kind of balanced on our show, so I thought we'd have something... I don't know how I'm going to structure it, but it's going to be called... what I initialed it now, was it? Oh yeah, P and N, and it was positive and negative. So it might be a 60 seconds, but we're just literally going to say something of each, but we've got to kind of counteract each one to make sure our podcast is there. But it's going to be like maybe a 60-second thing. It's going to be difficult, that's for sure. But yeah, I just thought of some new things. You guys, any suggestions you have, I'm always there to listen. DX1, you've always coming up with stuff. Jimbo, Wrestler Squad number 9, I'm sure he's going to be there. I know he's itching for a question. He says he's got a lot of questions. Try and narrow it down, Jimbo, because we might not have the whole 6 hours to get through your questions. But I'm looking forward to hearing from Jimbo next week. I'm sure he's been in touch very much. And don't forget as well, next week, following the live episode, straight away, part 1 of Bret the Hitman Hart. You're not going to want to miss it, because I think, Matt, it's fair to say, of all the timelines we've been doing so far, myself and Matt, we have pre-recorded those, but we're not anywhere near. I don't think we're halfway through Bret's, to be honest with you. But I tell you, I think of all of them, and not just because we're huge Bret fans, but his has been really, really interesting. Matt, is there anyone in particular that you've enjoyed with the timelines? Because I do get asked, who have we enjoyed the most doing so far? People seem to really like the Luger one, even though we only done one part, but they just seem to enjoy that story. I think they find it quite hilarious how it all went about. But is there a favourite for you so far, Matt, that we've covered between Shamrock, Luger and Diesel?
Oh, well, I think Shamrock was a good one, a really interesting one. I mean, I think it was something different at the time as well because it was the first one that we did. So when we were into that, it was covering new ground. So some fond memories of those ones.
So but you guys are not going to want to miss the Brett ones because there's a lot of stuff to it. And also we use quite a lot of the quotes from the book and all the rest of it. We have a lot of stuff going on with that. And it's a really good, I think, as far as a wrestler that literally goes through every single different emotion in that company and as a top guy, Brett's as a performer is definitely one of the outstanding best. I'd say him and Shawn Michaels are on a par in all that. But you're not going to want to miss that. So that will be literally available straight after the live episode next week. So tune into that. Matt, thank you for coming back for this preview. It's been a long preview because we've literally been on for 130 minutes there, folks. So you've got a nice little preview. I thought it was just important for myself and Matt to come in with talking about the past, because if we literally start on a live one, I think we'll be talking about the past more than the present, because we'd have to catch up with everything. But I thought we'd get that out of the way with. We'd give our feelings to what we've been thinking about, stuff going on. Also, Matt, I need to ask you, this is straight off the cuff. This just goes to show that myself and Matt... I'm going to put that out there as well. Before I get to that point, Matt, I just want to say this. I have a lot of emails, Matt. When we used to do our stuff regular, people used to email me and they used to say, how long does it take you and Matt before you go on live? Like, how long do you do a production meeting for? And how long do you chat about the way the podcast show is going to go? And you know what? Myself and Matt, literally, we get on like a minute or 2 minutes before and we hit live and we're there. There is no... We don't plan anything, really. There's a couple of bullet points. I'll probably message him that morning of some of the themes we might talk about. And that's it. We literally just go with the flow. It's just very natural. We don't have too much structure, Matt, but it was funny that people thought that we were spending hours talking about where we were going to go.
Much better to be natural and flowing. The thing that we don't like is if there's a technical issue, we have to read.
I was just about to say that, and that's happened a few times. It's a disaster, because then you're listening to yourself going on about the same stuff. But those are annoying. But Matt, what I was trying to get to before I thought this is just to go on straight off the cuff, because I'm literally asking Matt a question here. Have you, Matt? You've played pretty much some of the gameplay, I believe, of the WWE 2K game. Have you been playing the storyline? I mean, have you played enough to give us a little review next week? You reckon a little summary? Because I had a lot of people going, you don't talk about the game anymore. You've done on the first year, you've done loads on the game. Now we don't hear about the game. So I thought I haven't literally. I've played it, but I've not got into it, so I can't really give any account. But for those that want to know about it, I thought maybe we could have that moment next week, Matt, where we can give some brief summary.
I've actually been quite enjoying this one. So
there's go. Even I'm intrigued now to have heard Matt say that. So okay, Matt will be back with that next week as well, folks. Any questions at all on those things, let us know. Thanks as always for tuning in. Don't forget, you can get us all over the place at the moment. We're on YouTube, Spreaker, Podcast Addict, SoundCloud now, iHeartRadio, of course, iTunes, and probably lots of other platforms I don't even know about. Want to thank everybody everywhere for sticking with us. We're going to be back doing, again, we're going to be doing both the timeline, wrestlers' timelines and also the current stuff, leading into WrestleMania. We're really excited. Also, I'm going to say as well that myself and Matt will be able to talk about our experience from the Wembley experience that we're having in the UK. The WWE are currently going to be in the UK this week, and myself and Matt will be there Friday, so we're going to be able to talk about that as well, Matt. And I think I'm not wrong in saying that Triple H may be available. I'm getting the news that Triple H has stepped in to take place, which I'm kind of all for. I've been wanting, I know he's a favourite of yours. I kind of really like to see Triple H in a house show environment. I think it's going to be really cool. Are you pumped to see WWE again, Matt? Coming back over here?
Oh yeah, I am. Every time it comes over, I'm ready to see it. I mean, I don't really want to miss it if I can help it.
Yeah, and it's good just to go to the house shows and have a bit of a change from just the TV stuff. I think they're both really completely different experiences. I always get questions: what's the best one to go to, a house show or WWE